Most lads miss out on a ton of progress when trying to get to 10% body fat because they overlook the 5 most important rules that should be baked into every lad's mind when they're trying to get leaner. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact 5 rules I've used to get myself at 10% body fat and help hundreds of guys do the same without putting the rest of their life on pause or living life of misery. So before we come on to the nutrition and training side of things later in the video, first we need to commit to the first 5 rules. And this is what leads me to point number 1, which is commit to the phase. You see, most men reach a phase where something needs to change, and I call it like a specific point. And it might be for you, whether you've been on holiday and you take your top off, or maybe you try on some new clothes and it just doesn't sit right anymore, or maybe you walk past the mirror in the bathroom and you just get a glimpse of yourself. Whatever it is, we all have that specific point. And for me, I still remember it was in 2019. I was 2 years into growing my personal training business, and if you are a personal trainer, you know how hard that can be. Well, I thought it was hard, and then I realised COVID actually the year after. And it was when I found myself being over 100 kg for the first time. And when I used to fight Ty at 73 kg, it was a little bit of a shock to the system. So I thought, if I need to lead from the front, I need to be the inspiration for my clients, I need to do something about it. So this is where most lads fuck up. They half commit to the phase, and I call this phase the pit. And the pit is something like this. You start your fat loss journey, you decide, you make that change, you've reached that certain point, so you decide to get your calories in place, get into a good training regime, etc. But then within 2 to 4 weeks, you start to get itchy feet. And why is that? It's because, well, you're depleted for one, you're less carbohydrates, you feel a little bit, flatter, you feel skinny is a big one that I come across with a lot of lads. And the big one is that you haven't lost much fat yet. Because it's only 2 to 4 weeks in, so you haven't really made a dent in anything, yes. And this is where people start to get a little bit of itchy feet, and then they decide, you know what, the best thing to do is, I actually want to be bigger. I don't want to feel skinny anymore, I want to be bigger. And then the same thing happens there, 2 to 4 weeks, feel fat, feel lethargic, you see a little bit of excess body fat, and then you decide to go back to a fat loss phase again. And you end up in the cycle for sometimes years of just bulking and cutting without making any significant progress. And I've seen it with guys who've came into the hybrid project. They spent years and years training in the gym and doing all the things that they know they should do, but they haven't really changed. And within 6 weeks, 12 weeks, they're in a completely different place, which leads me to point number 2. So number 2 is laying out the roadmap, and it's literally a cheat code. Imagine back in the day being Alexander the Great. He wanted to conquer the whole world because he was an absolute madman. But he didn't have a fucking clue where he was going, what was on the other side, how long it would take, or if anything was actually there. Where fast forward to now, I still use Waze to get to the traffic centre because it tells me how long it's going to take, where the traffic is, where the potholes are, where the police are, where the speed cameras are. You name it, it maps it out, and that is the importance of having a roadmap. So getting clear on where you're going is half of the battle and can give you so much clarity. And that's why inside the hybrid project, we have what's called the operating system. This is where you want to map out what this looks like for you. So let's make a little bit of a 6-month target right now. The operating system should know what you're focusing on at what point. And in the most simplest format, let's break this down into 2 3-month phases. So we've got 12 weeks here, and then we've got 12 weeks here. If you're in a position to lose body fat and get to 7% body fat, but maybe you haven't got a spreadsheet like mine, I would recommend losing around 10% of your body weight. From experience, that's a great amount of weight to lose, and you're going to get to a solid position. And then obviously you can adjust off the back of that. So if you're 100 kilos, losing 10 kilos could be the aim. For simple maths, let's say that we are 102 kilos and we're wanting to lose 12 kg. That would mean that 12 kg in 3 months is the target, 1 kilo every single month, and that would get you to this point, which would be in month 3. Then you can decide then after that, okay, I'm going to go into phase 2, which is where you then look to add muscle tissue, go into a performance phase, run a marathon, whatever it is. But as you can see, you are committing to phase 1 and then you are committing to phase 2. And then on top of that, you've got so much clarity with where you're going, how long that's going to take, and what you need to do after that. And that leads me nicely on to rule number 3, which is all about tracking and adjusting. So the pictures that you take at the start, you will absolutely hate because, as I said, you've reached that point when something needs to change and your confidence has gone really low. But it's super important to take these pictures and every picture moving forward to track progression because, hear me out, I say this to my team all the time, but taking pictures of yourself or progress pictures is only going to spark 2 positive responses. A, I don't like what I'm seeing and I want to change it, which is again positive in my opinion. Or B, I like what I'm seeing and I want to keep it up, which again is positive. So make sure that you're taking your pictures. And if you are taking pictures but you are feeling frustrated, then click the link in the bio to grab the Hybrid Performance Tracker. It's a document that allows you to track everything with your nutrition, your training, your weekly averages, your pictures, you name it, it is in there completely free, along with a free 4-week training program that's going to help you get hybrid and get after it. And it's the same with your weight. If your coach is telling you after 4 or 6 weeks of not losing weight that you're adding muscle tissue, it is completely wrong, because what we want to see is we want to see weight start to trend down over time, and it's going to look something like that because it's never linear. But you will have periods like this where you might maintain a little bit, but if your weight is not trending down on a bi-weekly or a monthly basis, something needs to change. And that's when I recommend changing a variable, and it could be increase your step count, it could be increase your activity. It's probably going to be your nutrition, because based on research, most people undertrack by 50%, women, which leads me onto point number 4. So number 4 is all about nutrition, and nutrition is by far the most important thing that you need to focus on in order to get to 10% body fat. But a lot of people mess this up because they jump on TikTok, they're trying to cook all this mad meals, new recipes, you name it. They try and batch cook, use Tupperware. Whereas nutrition, it's all about making it really, really simple, but not boring. Because the most important thing when it comes to nutrition is adherence. So if you can't stick to something, it's never going to happen. You want to make it work in your favor. And adding more layers of overwhelm, such as new recipes, protein pancakes, you name it, just because you've seen it on TikTok, is setting you up to fail. And this is what I coined inside the Hybrid project, which is called the Hybrid Nutrition System for short, and it's trademarked. And it's a mixture of tracking food, which allows flexibility, flexible, and structure, which again creates a little bit of rigidity. What I see all the time is that tracking food can be quite overwhelming. Having so many choices to pick from, to track, to scan, it can leave you with a minefield of what to do. It's important because it allows you to understand where you're at, but first you need to get the structure. So what we do inside the Hybrid project is usually what I call the 2+1 approach. Realistically, in the daytime, as a male, you are in work between the hours of 9 to 5, generally. Before that, you're in control of your food. After that, family comes into the equation a little bit more. So you want to try and make the structure remain relatively the same on a day-by-day basis to keep it simple, but also take out any overwhelm that you might have. So the 2+1 approach is basically 2 meals in the day that you're in work can be relatively the same. And then meal number 3 can be the one that's quite flexible, which is usually what you have with your family. So that's the one where you can have the 5% burgers one day and the stir fry another day. But the other 2 meals in the day, try and keep them relatively the same, because that's going to help you with overwhelm and give you the structure that you need. And I've done a full training on the Hybrid Nutrition System somewhere on my channel, so after this video, go and give it a watch. So regardless of what strategy that you go with, just keep it nice and simple and less overwhelming, and you'll instantly see success. And rule number 5 is all about the TTI method, which I'm going to walk you through. Because when you're dieting, it's going to feel harder. It's expected because you're giving your body less energy that it requires. It's about getting the most out of the training to help you retain muscle, if not add some muscle tissue as well. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to be adding boatloads of muscle tissue, getting down to 10% body fat. But if you incorporate these 3 rules to your training, you'll see immediate success. So the first T stands for technique, and this sounds really, really simple, but hear me out. If you're going into each exercise and you're not utilizing it to the best of your ability, you are missing out. Are you taking it through a full range of motion? Are you taking it squeezing? Are you getting a good mind-muscle connection? Are you getting fatigue throughout the sets? Or even simpler than that, if you're doing a chest press, do you feel it in your chest? If you don't, you need to fix that first. So the second T is all about tempo. The amount of lads that I see in the gym who are rushing through sets are missing out on so much progress. So for example, a set that takes 60 seconds is going to be a lot harder than a set that takes 10 seconds, and no one likes to last only 10 seconds. So when you've got them 2 T's dialed in, then you can sprinkle in a little bit of the I, which is what we call intensity. And don't get me wrong, by fixing your technique and your tempo, you're instantly going to increase the intensity of the workout. But working hard in your set is going to benefit you so much. It's going to help you retain muscle tissue, and as I said, it might even help you grow tissue as well. So a good way of increasing intensity, or knowing if you're hitting the right intensity, is pushing close to failure, but leaving around 1 or 2 reps in the tank. So I guarantee if you implement them 5 rules right now, you're going to be in the best shape that you've ever been in. So if you found this video useful, don't forget to drop it a like, drop it a comment, drop it a subscription. YouTube's pretty smart as well. If you like this video, it's also going to recommend this one. Make sure you go and check it out, and I'll catch you in the next one.